Well, we're standing on the side of US Highway 50 here in central Colorado. So I broke base camp in Grand Junction this morning. We've packed up everything we own back onto the CFMOTO here, and the bike has done really good so far on this trip. I don't have any complaints about it, or nothing, no serious complaints. The bike handles the weight pretty well, and it's not too hard to manage, so I'm pretty happy with that. We're fixing to head over a really beautiful pass. So we're headed to Pueblo, Colorado, which is kind of on the eastern side of Colorado. We're going to spend the night there and then continue our way east tomorrow. But right now, let's take a ride over this pass and have a look at it. I stopped and put some clothes on. I know it's going to be cold up there. I've been running the grips and the seat heater today, or this morning. Yes, unfortunately, I'm having to head back to the world headquarters, or start heading that way. I've got it's going to take me 3 days. I'm really taking my time and stopping and looking at stuff here in Colorado. No sense in getting in a hurry. I have the luxury of doing that, so that's what I'm going to do. So this pass here, I've taken the FJRs over this pass many times, and they get really weak up here. The FJR, the Yamaha FJR 1300, I've had 3 of those bikes, and they just don't do very well at high altitude. They get real wheezy, and they just don't get along good. This bike seems to do pretty well. This is Monarch Pass, and actually, I tell you a story. I was out here on an FJR. Those are heavy bikes. They're over 600 pounds. I don't remember how much they weigh, but they're pretty heavy. And I had one. I had my FJR all loaded up like I do right now. I was tent camping off of it out here. So I had a lot of stuff on it, and it was really heavy. I got up on this pass up towards the top, and I pulled off of the road onto a pull-off to take some pictures. And when I put my foot down, of course, little gravel, you know, my foot slid and the bike went over. Holy crap. I had to pick that FJR up, loaded at 10,000 feet of altitude. It was right near the top. I thought I was going to die. I really didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. I managed to get it up, but it took everything I had. What a beautiful beautiful pass this is. Really is nice. And the timber's still in good shape. The beetles haven't killed out the spruce like you see in a lot of places in Colorado. Spruce is looking okay here. Just gorgeous. Whew, I'd hate to have to hike through that to get somewhere. Wouldn't that be rough back in the old days, having to travel up the creeks and rivers through all that stuff? I don't know how they did it. Yeah, this thing still has a little bit of grunt to it, even at this altitude. It does pretty well. The Triumph Tiger is another bike. It does pretty well at higher altitudes as well. I've had it up on some of these high passes. It doesn't struggle too bad. I came through here one year in the fall. I believe it was in September, the latter part of September. And going off the other side, there's a lot of aspen in the forest over there. And oh man, it was beautiful. I caught the colors in the aspen. They were all orange and yellow, and it was just beautiful. If you can catch it at the right time, fall is really spectacular. Certain places here in the mountains in Colorado. Woo! Kind of had a little trough in the road there. little trench to ride in. Oh, there goes Speed Racer and his buddy KTM man. Yeah, you gotta love this country. I don't know how you couldn't. Food and gifts. Yeah, you're gonna pay for it. Monarch Crest. Oh, I didn't see this. I didn't see the altitude. It told right there what the altitude was. I'll put it here on the video, but let's just say it's high. Ooh. Slow down. There's curves on this side of the mountain too. Got some got beetle kill here in these on this side of the mountain. You can see these dead spruce trees. The beetles are killing them out. You can see them all up in there. The other side of the mountain, there wasn't any, or I didn't see any. This side looked like it's getting pretty bad. Somebody worked that guardrail over pretty good. All down through here, it's all roughed up. That thing's really beat up. it's bent everywhere. Looks like people are going hiking. I'm sure there's a lot of good hiking along in here, through here on this pass. I can imagine. You could walk forever. You could walk till you drop. So we are just about off of the pass here. We're coming down, I think we're going to be in Salida before too much longer, or Salida, depending on how you pronounce that. So that was Monarch Pass there. That's going to be the highest pass on US 50 in Colorado. I'm pretty sure that's the highest one. I wouldn't want to try it in January. I don't have any chains for my motorcycle tires. I can't chain them up. So they wouldn't let me go over anyhow. I think we're going to have to get some fuel. I've got 68 miles left on my fuel range, and I've gone 171 miles, 172 miles on this tank. Usually around 180 or 90, I start looking for gas, try to gas up. I went 208 miles, I think 208 or 9 miles the other day on a tank, and it still held it still had a gallon of fuel left in it. It held I don't think it even held 4 gallons, like 3.97 or something gallons, so it still had a gallon of fuel in it. That's pretty good fuel economy and pretty good range. It's only got a 5-gallon tank. So this is a stretch of Highway 50 I think is really beautiful. It runs along the Arkansas River. We are just left Salida, Colorado. We're heading east on US 50. We got the Arkansas River right here. This is the canyon it has cut. This river is the river that cut the Royal Gorge right down here at Cannon City. We'll be going through there later on today, and it's just a beautiful drive down here from Salida all the way to Cannon City, Colorado. Cannon City, Colorado is where the Royal Gorge is at. Got people rafting on the Arkansas River today. The headwaters to the Arkansas River aren't too far north of Salida, back there up in the mountains just north of Salida, or where this river starts, and it flows all the way to the Mississippi River on the east side of Arkansas. Runs a long ways, runs all the way through Colorado, out through Oklahoma, and all the way across to Arkansas to the Mississippi River. Not a whole lot of snow left on these mountains. They're not nearly as snowy as the range we looked at earlier today. They must not be quite as high. Well, I'm getting some really good quality video of the back of this guy's trailer. Getting a lot of heat off the motor on my legs here. This motor makes a lot of heat, or it blows it right on your legs, I guess, is probably what the situation really is. I had a big black bear cross the road in front of me one morning when I was coming through here. It's been several years ago now, but it was a good sized bear. I stopped, we admired one another, and then I moved along. These rocks, they look a little bit reminiscent of Zion, what you see at Zion National Park in southwest Utah. Not exactly the same, but kinda. I'd say if you were a lizard or a snake, some kind of reptilian, this would be a pretty good place to live. Scorpion probably make a living here too, I imagine. See, I'm only an hour out of my my destination for the day. What time are we going to get there? Probably about 4 o'clock. That's about right. Go in, get cleaned up, get all my junk carried in, think about what I'm going to do for dinner. Then we get to get up, load the bike back up in the morning. I'm really looking forward to that. And then head out across eastern Colorado and into Kansas. Probably going to be a pretty warm ride, I would say, tomorrow. Don't need a guardrail on this side, we got one. We've got a lot of canyon riding in on this trip. Seems like that's about all I've done. Ride around in canyons. But I do enjoy it. Tell you what, I really like this tire pressure monitoring system. That's pretty nice, just to be able to see your tire pressure and your tire temperature on each tire. You get to where you know what it should be, and you can just glance at it and you know exactly where you're at. Pretty sweet. All this hot air blowing on me from the motor is not good. Tomorrow could be rough. Well, we made it to Pueblo, Colorado, Pueblo, Colorado yesterday for the evening, and we held up there in a motel. Started out again today. We're still heading east back towards the world headquarters. Right now we're just pulling into Dodge City, Kansas. We've made it into Kansas now. So Dodge City's a pretty famous old western town. It was a cow town. They used to drive cattle up from Texas up here. The railroad had come through by the 1870s, somewhere in that time, and came by here, so they were bringing cattle in here, and it became a pretty big wild and woolly place. Here's some of the old western part of Main Street that used to be here back in the 1870s, when the place was wild and a Wild West town. Some of the old buildings, they're restoring some of them, which is cool. It'd take a lot of corn to fill all those up. They got a lot of them. So we're heading on east now, and I'm going to stop for one more night. Oh, I don't know, here in a couple of hours, I think I'll find a room, see if I can get a room somewhere, and hold up for the evening, and then we'll finish our trip back to the world headquarters. And that will complete our expedition. And this looks like a refinery of some sort. See what it says on the front door. No, that is a beef processing plant, National Beef. So if you're a cow, that's where you do not want to ever go.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
So we've made it back to the world headquarters. We didn't have any major malfunctions on this trip. CFMOTO did a good job. Early this morning, about 6 o'clock, I was awoken by a strong wind. A storm had come in, and I heard the mighty CFMOTO bite the dirt just outside my window there in the parking lot. I knew that the bike was on the ground before I ever even looked out the window. If you've heard that sound before, you know it when you hear it. And the mighty CFMOTO took a dive this morning, but it didn't really seem to hurt it. It's got these little plugs that go in the end of these crash bars, these little plastic plugs. It did cut one of them up, so I had some already that I had ordered off of Amazon when I bought this bike. They're 1 1/8" outside diameter plastic plugs. So I just popped one of those in, and you can't tell that anything ever happened, so that was a good deal. So I will be doing a 5,000 mile review on this CFMOTO. It's got about 5,200 miles on it right now. I feel like I've got enough time on it. I've done a long expedition. I've lived off this bike for 2.5 weeks while I was out west, and I've got some opinions you might want to hear. If you're interested in this bike, I invite you to come and see that video when I get it up. So I appreciate all the faithful viewers that have watched all 5 episodes of this trip out west. We had a really good time. We got to know this bike pretty well. I invite you all to come back and see me. We'll go somewhere and do something else. Till I catch up with you again, you all take care of yourselves. We'll catch you next time.